Hello beautiful souls, welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So today I've got something really special for you. I've actually decided to start like a whole new series. I don't know if you've been following along with any of my series. You can always find them in the playlists on this channel. So this new series is going to be Star Nations. Okay, so like delving into each different star nation and finding out about who they are, their physical characteristics, their emotional characteristics, their energy, where they live, how we can connect with them, and just basically anything else that they want to share. So that would mean like Pleiadians, Andromedans, Orions, I mean just within probably the Milky Way galaxy, at least to start, kind of just really getting more information. I mean, this is Starseed Academy after all, so that's like the perfect next project, I feel like, for me. So that being said, I definitely want to ask for, in the comments below, leave your suggestions. Who do you want me to cover first? What star nation or what, starseed species, if you want to view it that way, are you like really dying to know more about? I think that I've only really done Pleiadians and Lyrans before on this channel, but I'm still going to cover them again in a new way. So definitely not only leave your suggestions below, but of like the star nation that you want covered, but also your questions, like your specific questions. So what I have for you today is the very first video in this series, and I thought that the best way to start this series would actually be to cover the Galactic Federation of Light. So who are they? What are they doing here? How do they work? Like all these kinds of questions. And this is going to be part one because I have a feeling that you are going to have questions that you want to add into this. So I am more than willing to do a Galactic Federation of Light part two, answering your questions. And I didn't really know how this video was going to go, but it actually turned into like an interview style, where when I went to the Galactic Federation of Light, I had a representative just like stand there with me as I asked my questions. They answered them. So I felt really compelled and drawn to like write it out as an interview. That's really what it felt like. It felt like I was literally going there to interview them. And then I had this vision of myself like going to, like, say if we're doing Pleiadians, me going there, like sending my consciousness there, astrally going there and doing an interview with one of their leaders, right? One of their heads of state. And I think that's the best way, because I'm such a strong channel, it's going to be the most accurate way for me to do this, to literally go to the source themselves and channel the information. And when I'm doing it, I'm actually like writing it out as an interview. So, that all being said, today we're going to be interviewing basically the Galactic Federation of Light. How cool. And a ton of stuff when I do it this way. So much comes through that I am not expecting, because I'm not relying on my own information or research. I'm just going in with like having absolutely no idea what's going to come through. Didn't really even actually have questions prepared, though I think that would be okay. So again, pop your questions for either the Galactic Federation of Light part 2 video or for another star nation that you want me to cover. Let me know who and what questions you want answered, and I will be so excited to get that information for you. So let's jump in, but before we do, please remember to like this video. This is one I really want you to share because there are lots of misconceptions about the Galactic Federation of Light. As we know, as you guys know, and you see all the time in this kind of community, there's always so much like fear mongering about like false light and the dangers of channeling and like all of these different things to try to deter people from getting their own information. So because of that, I think this is a really important video to share because I think that there's a lot of like negative or fear-based information regarding the Galactic Federation of Light and regarding starseeds in general. And so I just think it's really, really good if we can just share this one. So please do. And then of course, all the comments that I'll be reading, please leave those for me as well. Okay, so are you ready? Let's jump in. So the very first thing that I want to share is who I was speaking with. So it was actually an Arcturian, somebody that I know or I've dealt with this person before, I've communicated with this person before, I've seen them in a couple of people's readings, and then I've also have my own experience with this guide, and he is, his name is Anzobar, and he is an Arcturian that is currently working for the Galactic Federation of Light, and he was the person that I actually interviewed. So let's just jump right into the questions. We might as well, right? Let's just get to it. Okay, so the first thing that happened was, one sec. The first thing that happened was I asked if it was okay that I do this video. And he said, of course, or he said, yes. He said, the time of disclosure is here. So that's really amazing, because that's not always the answer I would get. There are lots of times when I heard disclosure is coming, disclosure is going to be, it's here. The time is here. It's already happening. So the Galactic Federation of Light has already experienced a lot of disclosure. It never used to trend. It never used to be a hashtag. And I've been talking about them for a couple of years on this channel. And suddenly it's becoming like something, I wouldn't say well known, but it's becoming known, like the information is getting out there. That is disclosure. And so the time of disclosure is here, and I feel like that was a loaded comment, where it meant more than just the Galactic Federation of Light, where it meant that the time of disclosure was here for humanity about all of the star nations, all of the different ones, which is amazing. And you know what? Oh, I just had like a little download plus mini chill, which I always get a chill on my body for confirmation when something like rings true. That's so funny that I did not even put this 2 and 2 together until I'm just talking to you guys right now. But the time of disclosure is here for star nations. I'm literally just saying that I'm doing a new series about the star nations, and it just feels like the time. That is disclosure. We are the channels of disclosure. Okay, so how cool that this is all just aligning right now. All right, so my first question to Anzabar about the Galactic Federation of Light, the first question was, what do you call yourself? And he said, Federation of Light. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. They wouldn't need to say galactic. Like, I think we say that here on Earth, right? Because we're like, oh, it's up, it's out there, it's out in the sky, but that is where they are. So he didn't say galactic, he just said Federation of Light. And I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, pretty much what we've been saying. And of course, when I'm channeling an intergalactic being, it is getting translated to English for me. So telepathy works where it arrives in your mind, kind of in the language that you speak, which is helpful so that I can also share it with all of you. So, if you were to translate what they call themselves to English, it would be Federation of Light. However, in, their own language, and again, the Galactic Federation of Light isn't just Arcturians, as you're going to find out. It's many different star nations and beings and councils. So again, this is all just translated to English. Okay, I'm going to move on. So then I asked him, how would you describe the Federation of Light? And he said, it's an amalgamation of century leaders, representatives of race, ambassadors, monarchies, warriors, scientists, healers, explorers, and more. So basically, the Galactic Federation of Light, I did know this, it's like a large umbrella, and underneath that title of the Federation of Light are all of these smaller councils, councils of light, councils of humanity, councils of many things, but they all have one goal. And it's also many different star nations. So like he said here, an amalgamation of century leaders and representations of race. So like when I say star nation, what I mean is whenever I go to like a meeting at the Galactic Federation of Light, to like the main like hall where they have these meetings, I've described it here before, but I will quickly again. I kind of like, it's a huge room, and when you first walk in, and it is on a spaceship, like a huge spaceship though, like a third of the size of Earth, it's so big. I think that's about how big it is. When I first walk in, there are all of these, it's like a horseshoe of seats, tables, and then like bleachers, there are rows that go up and up and up. And so I'm kind of just feel like I'm standing down on the ground a lot of the time, and then all around me and above are all of these different representatives, leaders of each star nation. So they have like one head of state or two heads of state for each star nation that represents that star nation and their desires and their intentions and all of that. Okay, I don't want to step on the toes of any answers here, but I just wanted to give you a bit of a visual. Okay, yes, because then the next answer here, still under how would you describe it? That was a question. He continues to say, there are 2 leaders for every star nation in the main chamber meetings. So that main room, there are 2. I actually thought there was only 1 before doing this interview. I thought that there was 1 leader for every, and I think I've said that here before, like they have 1 leader or representative of every star nation. He's saying 2. And immediately I wondered, and I didn't ask this, I should have, but immediately I wondered if it was because 1 was masculine and 1 was feminine, because we live in this universe of polarity with masculine and feminine kind of being separated in a way. Didn't ask that, but I do feel like that's potentially it. Okay, then he continued to answer saying, also a place of many councils, which can be mixed members or all of one race or species, I guess. So for instance, the Council of Humanity that I work with are many different kinds of races. They're not all, like, say they're not all Pleiadians. It's like some of this, some of that, and but they all have one goal in mind, okay? Souls that have witnessed the creation of our Milky Way. Oh, sorry, I skipped ahead. The answer was also a place of many councils, which can be mixed members, and some of these councils are ancient souls that have witnessed the creation of our Milky Way. So many different councils under that umbrella of the Galactic Federation of Light, all these councils, some of which are so ancient that they have actually witnessed the creation of the Milky Way galaxy that we currently live in. Like, how amazing is that? Like, what kinds of beings would those be? I would love to have a meeting with that council. How amazing would that be? And then he also said, all aforementioned Federation members have one united goal: to uphold the peace in our galaxy. Peace leads us to evolution, war takes us backwards. So that's why, or one of the reasons why peace is so important to them, because that is the evolution of our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, okay? So then my next question was, are you a universal federation? Like, for all of the galaxies or just this galaxy? Because of the way that he said it, I needed to know that next. And he said there are chapters for each galaxy, but they overlap. So like the Milky Way galaxy has the Galactic Federation of Light that we know as humans, that we channel, that we are comfortable with and familiar with. But for each galaxy within our universe, there is another chapter of that, watching over that galaxy. And he's saying that they overlap. And there are main headquarters for each universe. So even a level up. So if each galaxy has a chapter, then each universe has this main headquarters. The great sun is the life-giving force of this universe. So he's saying that the great sun, which I have often called the grand central sun, it's the same thing though, just different ways of saying things. He's saying the great sun is the life-giving force of this universe. And that's where the headquarters is for our universe. Okay, so the Milky Way galaxy has a chapter of this federation. Every different galaxy has a chapter. And then the big universe of the entire thing, the multiverse, has a headquarters at the great sun, or what I would call the grand central sun. And then I said to him, okay, so I'm seeing that now as being like one huge headquarters for the universe and then smaller chapters for each galaxy. That's how I saw it. But the way that he said it was, there's a main headquarters for each universe. So almost saying like, obviously, that there's more than one universe. Okay, so that was of course my next question, which was each universe, ? And he said, parallel realities. Each dimension is its own vast universe. So that's new information to me, because I didn't realize that dimensionally they are universes. So like 3D across the board is its own universe. And he describes a little bit more about this, but that was new information to me. I thought our universe had all of the dimensions in it, but he's saying each one is a universe. So that's very intricate. He said, you are traveling through universes when you shift your frequency. You are traveling through realities when you shift your frequency. So when we shift up or down, we are entering into another universe, a parallel universe, which is so crazy. He said, and then he showed me this vision, which I drew, but it's not worth showing because it's so bad. He showed me this vision of the 3D universe. And it was just a vision basically of like our solar system and like different planets and stars. And then he said, think about space exploration. He says, that's 3D. Okay, so like our 3D universe, whether they go to the moon or they go to eventually make it to, say, they get on Pleiades or they go to whatever planet, they're only going to see the 3D universe version of that. Whereas if they were on Pleiades and they were up in the 6th dimension, not the 3rd dimension, and remember, a dimension is not a place, it's a measurement of your vibration or your frequency. If we were up in the 6th dimensional vibrational frequency in our bodies, that's where we hold it, and in our energy fields, and then we went to Pleiades, we would see the civilization there and be able to talk with them and meet with them and interact with them. But when you are way below in like 3D, not way below, but below in like the 3rd dimensional frequency, you cannot interact with them. Okay, so that's a really interesting thing about like density, frequency, realities, physicality. So for instance, like when you go astral traveling and you match the frequency of, I'm going to keep using the Pleiades to make it easy. If I match the frequency of the 6th dimensional vibration and I go traveling to the Pleiades, when I get there astrally, because I can't travel there physically, it feels real. You can see the buildings, you can see the medical centers, you can talk with the scientists and the doctors, you can have an experience like you would consider here on Earth, right? Like where it feels physical, it's tangible, it's this world, it's a reality, it's a civilization. But if we were to travel there physically in our 3rd dimensional bodies, we would not be able to experience it in that way because we are in a 3D form. And the 3D form of Pleiades, I mean, maybe, I don't know because we haven't been there probably space exploration wise yet, but it might just be empty planets, right? Like it might just be in the 3D realm or universe, I guess is what he's saying. Each dimension, each frequency is a universe. In 3D, the moon, you know what I was just going to say? This is so funny. I just have to keep backtracking because this is such a complex topic. I was going to say, well, in 3D, when we went to the moon, there was nothing there. But really, like, we know that that is not true. That is so not true because there is so much conspiracy or like hidden facts about the moon and what truly was there when they saw it. So really, let's not even say that because that's not true. Because if you went to the moon, and you like, you know, had full disclosure and were able to walk around the whole, even the dark side of the moon, you'd see all kinds of stuff that they're not telling us about. So still, this applies though. If the 3rd dimension is not only a dimension, we can now interchange the word dimension with universe, which makes sense because I have heard or read a lot of different like quantum physics and science articles, scientific articles that talk about dimensional realities. And that sounds like another world, which then is a parallel universe or just another universe. Okay, so anyway, hopefully that makes sense to you. So basically he was saying that each universe has a headquarters, like a large federation of light headquarters, and then the smaller, for us, galactic chapters of that. Okay, so then I asked, well, what about the dark places? Because then I'm just wondering, like, if you're saying each dimension is a universe, I know that there are dimensions below 3D where things get, like, dicey. And is that then its own universe? Like, I wanted to know, what about the dark places? And he said, lower dimensions or universes still contain light. There is no place that is 100% light or dark. Not even the great sun. And then he showed me the vision of the yin-yang symbol. Yin-yang is wholeness. Balance is the goal. So that just kind of turns a lot of things on their head about how we view like maybe source light as just being light. When really it is wholeness. It is oneness. Which has to be an equal amount of both. And so anything else outside of that is somewhat imbalanced in some way if it's not back to the purity and the wholeness of the source of life itself. And then he continues his answer. So yes, there are versions of federations in each dimensional universe and in each faction or galaxy, though galaxy will not always apply. So again, that is, there are versions of the headquarters of the Federation in each dimensional universe and versions of what we consider galactic headquarters, like the one that we have here in the Milky Way. He's saying that he's calling them, though, factions, because the galaxy word does not always apply depending on the dimension that you're in. So for instance, like a really low dimension, maybe it doesn't have galaxies. I'm not sure. Just see, this is all just like so like complex and leaves you thinking about it for days and leaves me with more questions, which is why I'm encouraging you to please submit your questions, because I think that a part 2 is needed. Okay. Then I asked, and my questions were just being like coming up as he was talking. I was thinking, oh, well, now I need to know this. So when he said that, the next thing I wanted to know was, is the underworld a universe? Yes, I went there. I had to know. If you've ever watched my video, my astral abduction, it was a really traumatic experience for me where I was taken to the underworld against my will. It was crazy. So then I'm always kind of like thinking about that with maybe some fear still. And so I had to ask. So I said, if you're saying each dimension, I know that the underworld is a dimension. It's a lower dimension. I don't know I don't know that, like, if there's a negative number, is that possible? 0 dimension or negative something? I don't know. But if he's saying that every dimension is a universe, is the underworld a universe? Is there a whole universe just of the underworld? He said, yes, and it has many names, which is kind of chilling, but I assume that like on Earth, we would probably call that hell, and that it's a whole universe of hell. Like, I mean, not religiously, okay, because I'm not religious, but yeah, still hell or the underworld is kind of interchangeable. So he said, yes, the underworld is a universe. It has many names, but there is light there. And the light there creates great healing because the contrast empowers the light even more. So that's probably like something huge to unpack as well. Like, every answer of his is so intriguing. The contrast empowers the light even more. So the light is actually more powerful in the underworld than it would be maybe here on Earth, because it's the contrast. It's like the contrast I visualize, because I'm pretty visual of a person. If you were in like a dark room, totally blacked out room, and you lit a candle, it is so powerful. But if you were in this room right now in the daylight and you lit a candle, it's not as powerful. And the contrast empowers the light and the force that it has and the influence that it has, and apparently the healing that it has. So many things to think about. And then I realized I was getting off topic, and I was supposed to be asking about the Galactic Federation of Light. This is supposed to be all about how do they work, and I'm like asking about the underworld. So I was like, okay. So my next question, I was like, okay, let's get back on track. My next question was, what work do you do as the Federation of Light? And his answer was, we travel, investigate, check on people and places. We send out councils to explore. We send out ambassadors, warriors, healers, and more. We offer resources, we offer shelter, we offer solutions, we try things, and we do our best. We are not perfect, but we are here to support, to do our best, and we care. So I thought that was really beautiful and very humble and honest, and I really appreciated that. And then I asked, do you live on a ship? Because whenever I go there, that's how it appears to me when I'm arriving. And he said, yes, but it's a rather large ship, more like a small planet. Sometimes we move around, sometimes we are stationed in one spot for a long time. And then I asked, do you welcome visitors? I know that they do, but I wanted to see what his answer would be. And he said, of course, and of all kinds. Our hallways and doorways are large and accommodating. Because think about all the different kinds of beings. Like, as humans, we're kind of small, but think about all the kinds of beings that would physically show up there and want to enter in, like a dragon. Like, oh my God, it would have to be like the largest hallways. And it is. And you've heard me describe that here on this channel. Whenever I describe the Galactic Federation of Light, I'm like, it's all white and it's huge. Like the ceilings, the hallways, it's so expansive. It's so huge. Then I asked, have you ever been attacked? And he said, we have, but we have technology beyond this galaxy from the Great Sun headquarters. Invisibility, defensive shields that are impenetrable. Defensive, not offensive. So he wanted me to understand that the technology that they use is always defensive, not offensive. even though I'm sure that the Great Sun headquarters has that kind of technology. What they use at the Milky Way galaxy headquarters, like the Federation that's here close to us, they're using defensive measures to protect themselves, and then they don't really have to worry about being attacked. And I'm sure that the invisibility would also just come in really handy for a lot of reasons. And then my last question was, I can't believe we're already at the end. My last question was, is there anything else you'd like to share? Just in case I wasn't asking the right questions. I felt a little like awestruck at a lot of the answers he was giving. And so again, I think we need more questions. So please, just another call to you to submit anything that you want to know about the Galactic Federation of Light, and I will do my very best. So my question was, is there anything else you'd like to share? And he said, and Zabar, this beautiful Arcturian representative, said, many awakening souls on Earth at this time have connections here. And he meant there to the ship that he was on, to the Federation of Light, through either family or their own work. You are volunteers of light, and we see you. You are precious, and we are working tirelessly to protect and inform you. You are welcome here. Come for healings, meetings, missions, and updates. And then he encouraged me to share how I travel there in case it helps anyone. And I know that maybe you have your own ways, but just in case my version would help anyone, I do want to share it quickly. It's definitely not complicated. As you know, I always set up a sacred space before I do anything. So I call in Archangel Michael when I want to go to the Galactic Federation of Light. I tell him what I want to do. Then I call down the white light of God Source, Baba, and ask it to surround me and protect me, to watch over my human body and my soul as I travel. And then Archangel Michael takes me, the soul or my consciousness, and we travel to the Galactic Federation. And then I always visualize it as this huge ship. And the way that I enter in each time, there's probably different ways to enter, but the way that I enter every time is like at the bottom of the ship, there's this big door that's like a drawbridge where other ships pull in and park. So it's like the basement, for lack of a better term, where like all the different like spaceships are sorry, I just had this out-of-body moment as I heard myself saying this, and I was like, wow, it's so crazy that I can even share this and have anybody understand what I'm talking about. Like when I just said, oh, I arrive in the basement of the ship where all the other spaceships are parked, I had this weird like out-of-body moment, like who's gonna be watching this? Like who is even, oh my god, like some people, sometimes I get comments where people think I'm crazy, but then mostly though, I get a lot of comments from you guys who just totally resonate with my experiences because you're having them too, and it's like, it's all real, like it's all just so amazing. Anyway, so yeah, through that drawbridge, like that big door that comes down, and then I go in, and then I feel kind of just like my human like light body, I guess, version. And then I'm just standing there, and then I walk up these stairs and I go through a door, and then I'm in a big white hallway. And then if I make my way through, I get to the grand like hall or the grand chamber where those desks I told you about in the horseshoe are. That's where I always go. And then when I get there, I'm like, oh, hey, like whoever's there. And if no one's there, I just call out for someone. But when I get there, I always just explain what I'm looking for, and then they give me the right person. However, they tend to know before I get there that I'm coming, and they're already kind of prepared a lot of the time. Like, for instance, today when I got there was just one person in this huge thing. It was all empty. It was just Anzabar, and I was like, oh, hey, can you help me? Like, here's what I'm doing. Here's the series I want to do. Do you think that's a good idea? I really feel like I want to start it with a video about the Galactic Federation of Light. Is that okay that I do that? And that's when he said the very first sentence that I shared with you guys, which was, the time of disclosure is here, of course, like, go ahead. And then I said, great, like, who should I speak to? And he's like, me, like, I can help you with that. And I was like, perfect. And then it just turned into an interview, which was really cool. I wasn't actually expecting that. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. That's the end of what I have. So I'll do a part 2 of this video with your questions, and then, but I want to do, this is a whole series now on the different star nations. Who should I do first? What should I cover first? Who should I interview first? What civilization would you like me to go to? Because I'm like actually very excited to explore, to be an explorer, to, you know, use my channeling to bring this ancient wisdom or galactic wisdom to the world. And I actually see it not just being a video series, but I have some really big ideas for what I want to do with this information, including some secret stuff that maybe, do I want to share? Yeah, why not? Including, I'm definitely going to do a book about it, but then I also was thinking that I'm going to do a card deck, because I think that that would be really special with the information that I pull and that I share here on YouTube. And then, of course, information that I save for those projects so that they're special too. So I'll be definitely interested in your comments on this one for the Galactic Federation interview part 2, and then who are we going to cover first? Okay, so I love you all. Thank you so much for just being a part of this and supporting me always. If you want to work with me to uncover some of your own lifetimes in these, like maybe you had a lifetime where you were at the Galactic Federation of Light working, we can find that out. Like, absolutely. I do Akashic readings. I do breakthrough readings where we just talk to your spirit guides, your whole team. You get a chance to ask about your career, your soul purpose, your earth mission, your love life, your health, anything that you want. It's totally open. It's like a Q&A with your team. I have lots of different kinds of readings, as well as healings and activations. Check out the links below if you want to work with me one-on-one. I will say, though, quickly before I go, that the membership is the place to be if you want to have experiences like this. Because I have taken my members to Orion, to Venus, to Andromeda. I can't think of the other ones right now, but ancient Egypt. Okay, we go to these places together and they get to experience it real time with me. And in the interim, during that, they are actually strengthening their own astral travel abilities, psychic gifts to receive, channeling abilities as well. So, and I'm helping people with all of that. Plus, we go on these crazy experiences and journeys together. So, every single week, literally once a week, it's intensive, and it's going to like absolutely skyrocket your frequency and your spiritual growth and expand your consciousness. So, I hope to see you in the membership, and I love it's a thriving place of individuals that are all at different phases, and that makes it such an incredible place to be because we're all learning from each other. We all have a piece of the puzzle. It's such a loving place. So join the membership, work with me one-on-one, submit your questions and ideas below for this new series. I love you all. Thank you. And before we go, please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body we're in. I love you, beautiful star seeds. Have a wonderful day. Bye.